Hey everybody, final thoughts time for Dribbel Fieber. But before I get to that, I have to do big shout outs, 3 of them in fact. First of all to Jochen Bunagel, who was a fan of Rahdo Runs Through, who knew I was really interested in this game and got me my copy. As I said right up front, this is a very, very difficult game to get your hands on, but Jochen did somehow, and out of the goodness of his heart, he sent it to me so I could do a run through. And Jochen, I know it's taken quite a while. Thank you for your patience, and thanks for sending along. I'm really glad I got a chance to experience it, so I am ever closer to 100% Feld. The Feld singularity is upon us. So thanks to Jochen. And then I also have to give huge shout out to Board Game Geek user El Sethe, who did all the translation. I actually sent him scans of the German rules, and he took quite a bit of time and actually translated them all to English for me. And I have since posted those on Board Game Geek, so you can find them, because I did take German in high school and college, but man, it would have been a lot tougher going if I would have to call upon my old Deutsche skills to read these rules. So huge thanks to El Sethe. And then finally, a big thank you to Michael McCollum, who was a Rahdo Runs Through Kickstarter backer who requested this with his director pledge. And so Michael, I hope you enjoyed this run through. Hopefully it told you what you need to know about this game. And again, thank you to El Sethe and Jochen as well. Again, 3 great folks came together to make this possible. Big shout outs. And now, the game itself. I feel so bad telling you about this game because it's so good. This is a really, really sharp and clever game. And it's particularly interesting. I mean, if you only watch the basic run through, you really didn't get a sense for this game at all, because the standard kick and run version, I mean, it really is for playing with very young children. It's super simple. A big part of winning comes down to roll the dice and lucky card draws, but it almost doesn't matter because it's kind of like an introduction to hand management. There's a little bit of thought. Okay, I've got these 3 cards. Which one should I sacrifice to get more money so I can buy a better card later on? And that becomes an interesting element of the game. But by and large, I mean, you're shooting almost every single round, and it works, but it's certainly a bit too light for any kind of gamer, and it's definitely on the light end of the spectrum. But then when you play the full game, there's a lot going on. There is a surprising amount of depth. There's a lot of tough choices to make with what cards you play, but more importantly, what cards you hold on, because you might go, as you saw in the extended, 3 or 4 turns before anybody is actually in a position to be able to make a shot. And then that shot might not even make it. It has a much stronger feel of real soccer. It doesn't become it's a high-scoring game when you play the basics, but when you play the full game, I mean, you really have to work hard to break free from the pack and take that shot and hope you can get it past that goalie. And then what's even more brilliant is halfway through the game, when the whistle blows and it calls for halftime. Actually, wow, I was only a couple more turns away from getting it in the run-through I just did, the extended run-through. And then you get to do deck manipulation. You have all the cards you've bought up to that point, and you have to decide which ones to pull out, because you can basically thin your deck down to 9 cards, if I recall correctly. And so you have to think about, okay, of the cards I've bought so far, what works best based on what I know my opponent's bought, how many cards do they have they can use against me on my own turn. So should I build with that in mind? Should I get rid of other stuff? It's a really surprise. Now, again, I'm not going to say it's a super deep game. It's still, but it's getting closer to like a nice mid-weight Euro. And like I said, it really is particularly impressive how well it captures the feel, of football or soccer, depending on your nationality. And it does it really, really nicely. I mean, on some level, that's no surprise because, it's Stefan Feld and Wolfgang Penning. I expect great things from both of these designers, and they really did deliver. When I first played the intro, I thought, well, I don't know, will the full game do it? But the full game does do it. So if you have any interest in the great sport of football, it's maybe worth seeking out, although you'll have a very, very hard time finding it. There's just so few copies of it out there. I can only hope that maybe someday Queen, I doubt they still have the rights for the likeness of Lucas Podolski, but I imagine they still have the rights for the actual rules. It really strikes me as they should go on ahead and re-release this without the Spiel mit Lucas label because, I mean, there's lots and lots of people out there who like soccer. And in the ensuing years, since 2010, Stefan Feld has just become more and more popular as a game designer. Him putting out a family-friendly soccer game now in 2016 would have a much bigger impact than it did in 2010. And so Queen's just sitting on this potential, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's not much overlap between board game fans and soccer/football fans. Maybe, maybe not. But all I can say is it's a really, really sharp game. And if Jen and I had any interest in the subject matter, this would be a total keeper for us. I mean, obviously, it's definitely a tug of war. It's all about, trying to, make sure you've got the right cards at the right time to bust through their defenses and, push and shove and do whatever you can. But as the full game, it's surprisingly good. And that, folks, is Dribbel Fieber or Dribbel Fieber Spiel mit Lucas. And thanks for watching. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, as always, please let me know. Apologies for any goofs I made here and there. I don't really know the game that well, but hopefully you have a pretty good idea of what it feels like and the types of decisions you make. And thanks for watching. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.